2, 1. What's up, y'all? Welcome back to TheTre show. It's your favorite. We back here. New episode. Y'all been waiting for it all weekend, all weekend, weekday, weeknight, weekday, week morning. Y'all get it. YouTuber intros is hard. Welcome back. You guys absolutely killed the last one. I think we're up to like 50 views on that. So thank you. Let's just keep going up and let's just make this a real consistent, real steady growth. Let's go ahead and let's just get into it today, guys. The first thing I want to talk about off rip is today we learned about the passing of Demaryius Thomas. And it's never something you really want to hear about, someone dying, and it's just one of the saddest. It is probably the saddest thing you could really think of, and he just happened to be the person that passed away. We don't have any details on cause of death or anything like that I'm aware of. So right now, as we sit here, all we can do is just send prayers to his family and just have like a little moment of silence here. So obviously, rest in peace to him. Demaryius Thomas, receiver for the Broncos, the Jets later on in his career. He might have played for a couple of different teams, but I think, mostly, I tried to combine the two. Mostly just the Broncos is where he was the most famous, and that's where his prime was. And he played on those Peyton Manning-led Broncos teams that went to the Super Bowls. And that was right when I started getting into football. And so those Broncos teams, Demaryius Thomas, Eric Decker, I think, was on those teams. Julius Thomas. They were some of the real, the formative guys that I watched growing up. Cam in that Super Bowl, that hurt because, I was a Cam Newton fan. And for Cam to lose to them, it really hurt a lot. So, rest in peace to him. He's one of those receivers where he was a real big guy. If I'm not mistaken, I think he was around 6'3" or 6'4". But he still just had really good speed, and he was one of the best deep threats that we've seen in the league in recent years and of his time. So, rest in peace. He was 6'3". Rest in peace to him. And from there, we really transition to the next game, or the next topic, really. Like I said, rest in peace. And the next game that we have to talk about, is the Steelers and Vikings game. And this game was a real convincing Vikings win. They did some Vikings things down the stretch, which you expect the Vikings to make Vikings plays. But this game was 22-0. 29-7 at different points. Like, they really had the game under control and, prevent defense, stuff like that. The Steelers got back into it, made it a game. But the most important thing, I think, one of the most things that stood out the most was Chase Claypool in the first quarter got a unnecessary roughness call or unsportsmanlike conduct. And Mike Tomlin chewed him out for it, as he should. That's a receiver doing that kind of unnecessary stuff that hurts your team. And so fast forward to the end of the game, Claypool makes a first down catch. They throw him the ball. He gets the catch. And it's a first down, 4th and 3, I think it was. And he does one of these, celebrating the first down. And, it's a hurry-up situation. The Steelers are driving, and they don't have the ball. Or they have the ball. They don't have any timeouts. And he's sitting there doing the celebration. The clock is ticking. He didn't get out of bounds, none of that. Middle of the field. And he ends up costing his team 13 seconds of game clock. From the time he caught the ball was 38 seconds, and they didn't spike it until 24. So 13, 14 seconds. And, reality is they were probably going to lose 5-6 seconds at most running the spike on the field if he doesn't celebrate. And that's one of those things where you just got to know better You're a young receiver, but you gotta, at the end of the day, you have to know that situation. I guarantee you that Justin Jefferson for the Vikings, another second-year receiver, he doesn't make that mistake. And the Steelers might win that game. They had some momentum. They had scored 30 of the last 37 scored of that game. They had the momentum, and that mistake cost them the game in the end. They don't end up getting it done. And you have to wonder, really, what's the future of Chase Claypool? Earlier last week, we talked about how there was the situation where he wanted to play music in the locker room. And was it, I know Mike Tomlin did, but was it Cam Hayward? Did he still play there? I'm thinking of someone else. No, it was Cam Hayward. They both kind of shut that down. And we get to this situation today, and it feels like we've been here with the Steelers receiver. And he isn't as talented as Antonio Brown was. So are they going to put up with it? I think is the biggest question. Juju obviously signed a 1 year. So Juju might be out. He might stay. But what are they going to do with Claypool? There's obviously teams out there who need a receiver. New Orleans, Jacksonville, Vegas come to mind, who might be willing to take him on. I think New Orleans is the place who would take him on. They have what do they call it? They have the culture to really take some of those personalities in, and especially in a competitive locker room like New Orleans, I think he'd be a guy that they might think about trading for. Because on one hand, you want to say they've been here before, right? They know how to handle these receivers who have these massive egos and who do off-the-field crazy stuff, a la Antonio Brown, Martavis Bryant. We know the list. But on the other hand, you say he isn't as good as those guys at this point in his career. And are they going to allow him to cause as big as a headache having gone through that point? The Steelers are going to be without Big Ben next year. There was a report that Big Ben will not play for the Steelers next year. And the reports didn't say he was retiring. It says he has told his teammates he's not coming back. And my question is, does Big Ben think that another team is going to pay him or another team is going to want him? Because he's not playing like somebody who's going to be on a different team next year. The report should have been that he's going to retire. Quite frankly, I don't really like Big Ben. You know why? Yeah. I ain't even going to get into it. We can talk about it. But, yeah. Are they gonna deal with that? They're gonna switch quarterbacks, really try to change the culture. And, does Chase Claypool fit in with that? I don't know the answer to these questions. So we'll have to figure that out. Something cool that happened last week is I predicted the score of the Saints and Cowboys game. So you guys should like and subscribe just for that. I know what I'm talking about. That's all that shows. And right now, let's go ahead and just look at the next games here. The Ravens and the Browns. The Ravens are coming off of an ugly win against the Steelers, or an ugly loss. Pardon me. I thought they won this week. The Ravens, Steelers. No, ugly loss. That last play, is a play that we can talk about what should have happened there. But at the end of the day, TJ Watt is a game wrecker, and he wrecked that game. A lot of people tried to blame that throw on Lamar, but I don't think that's Lamar's fault. He didn't have a good angle to get the ball there, first of all. And second of all, that is TJ Watt. It's not like it's some random pass rusher. Alex Highsmith wasn't rushing the edge on him. It was TJ Watt. And that's not a play that most quarterbacks are going to be able to make. That's just the reality of the situation. But Ravens and the Browns, both teams need this win. The Browns currently are sitting in last place in the division at 6-6. The Ravens are in first place at 8-4. And with, 5 games left, there's still a lot that can happen there. Personally, I see the Ravens coming out on top. Baker's not being Baker. He's really regressed this year. And, honestly, injuries have played a good role in that, but he has regressed. So I'm going to pick the Ravens to win this game 24-16. Next game on the list is the Raiders and the Chiefs. The Raiders and the Chiefs here is interesting. Last year, the Raiders and Chiefs were two spectacular games. The Raiders won in Arrowhead, and then they ended up coming back to Vegas and losing on the last play of the game. I think the defense just couldn't hold Mahomie. But this year, things are a lot different. The Raiders don't have Ruggs, obviously. They're just missing a lot. I'm going to pick the Chiefs to win this game pretty convincingly, unfortunately. It's a morning game. It's an East Coast game. We know that the Raiders historically haven't played very well in these type of games. Last year against the Jets and the Falcons in back-to-back weeks really come to mind. So I don't like it, but I think the Chiefs are going to win this game. I'm going to take the Chiefs to win 31-13. Kenyan Drake this last week talked about how if the NFL cared about player safety, they would ban the tackle that he was tackled with, because that ended his season 2 years in a row. And Kenyan Drake is absolutely right. The tackle he's talking about is when there's a guy running, he's trying to catch him, and he tackles him up high around the shoulders and with his arms, and then puts all his body weight onto the guy's legs and brings him down that way. It's a bad play. And yeah, you see injuries a lot like this. Jameis Winston tore his ACL earlier this season in a tackle similar to this. Dak Prescott broke his ankle last year on that kind of tackle. So Kenyan Drake is right. That is a tackle they need to look at. And if they're going to call these bogus roughing the passer calls, then they definitely should call these I don't even know what you would call it, these dangerous tackles. But yeah, he's definitely right on that angle. The Seahawks and the Texans. The Seahawks looked better last week. It looked like they were regaining form, and that's obviously, anyone who knows about football knows that's going to happen. Russ missed a lot of time with an injury to his throwing hand, and he just needed some time to look like himself again. They beat the hot 49ers last week 30-23, and the Texans aren't good at football. There's really no other way to really talk about that. The Texans just aren't good at football. So I'm going to pick the Seahawks to win this game. Let's just say, 35-10. I think the Texans will score one time and then kick a field goal. But I think it'll be a get-right game for the Seahawks. The Saints and the Jets is the next game. Once again, here's another get-right game for the Saints. Losers of 5 in a row, which hurts. It hurts to say those words as a Saints fan. But, you lose to the Falcons by 2, you lose to the Titans by 2, you get blown out to the Eagles and the Bills and the Cowboys. What are you going to do, man? Like we talked about last week, every single starter on the Saints offense has missed time. It just hasn't been a good year. That happens sometimes. Injuries are part of the game, unfortunately. And a lot of that is just, it's inevitable. You're going to get hurt at some point. But the Saints do still have a chance to make the playoffs. Do I think they will? No, I don't think they will. They play the Jets, Bucks, Dolphins, Panthers, and Falcons. 3 of your last 5 being against divisional opponents doesn't really bode well. Yeah, you figure Falcons and Panthers, you might get those. Dolphins look good right now, so that might be a loss. Jets should be a win. Bucks will be a loss. You're looking at a 7-win team. And it sucks because a lot of people doubted the Saints coming into the season. And so you look here at a 5-7 football team, and they just get to be right, when in reality the Saints were 5-2, had just beaten the Bucks. And then injuries happened. Jameis Winston gets hurt. They were a playoff team, and that was before the injuries, though. But I'm picking the Saints to win regardless, 27-10. The Saints still have one of the best defenses in football. You're going up against inexperienced quarterbacks. That is the game that the Saints will win. Something happened to my scoreboard here. The 49ers and Bengals play at the 1 o'clock window. Bengals coming off a game where They just looked slow to start. They showed what they could do, scored 22 straight, and then ultimately just came up short in a loss to the Chargers. The 49ers are coming off a loss also. I'm going to pick the Bengals to win this game. I think they're the better team, even though the 49ers, you could argue, are probably hotter right now. But I'm going to pick the Bengals to win 28-14. I just believe in the Bengals more. The Cowboys and Washington play. This is another game where it feels open and close to me. The Cowboys will win this game 17-14, maybe more than that. These two, it's hard to talk about the Cowboys and Washington. Washington won last week against the Raiders 17-15, I think it was, 21-19. It was a close game. The Raiders had a chance to win on a Hail Mary, but Derek Carr ultimately, they just couldn't hook up. It's a Hail Mary. You don't really expect it to go. It's a miracle when it happens, hence the name. The Cowboys just beat the Saints 27-17. But I think the Cowboys will win this game. The Jags and the Titans play. The Jaguars are the worst team in football. A close second would be the Texans, who is in that division. But the Titans are not one of the worst teams in football. The Titans are probably one of the better teams in football. They sit at 8-4. And so I'm going to pick them. The Titans will win this game 27-3. Unfortunately, the sad part is that this was the Derrick Henry game. You know, Texans, Jaguars in December. Titans, Jaguars in December is the game where Derrick Henry has 200 rushing yards. And we get deprived of that this year, which sucks. You know, it really sucks. But good news about Derrick Henry is that they said that the 6-10 timeline that they gave him is looking closer to 6 than 10. So obviously that's great to hear. You always want to have one of the better running backs in football, probably the best running back in football back. So it's good to hear that he's going to be closer to 6 weeks. And I have him in fantasy. So, you know, getting him back will help my playoff run. The Panthers take on the Falcons. Cam Newton should have not a breakout game, hopefully a bounce back game this time. It's hard to really be worse than 5 of 21. And I don't think he'll be worse than 5 of 21. Back in Carolina this week. It is hard to be worse than 5 of 21. Coming off a bye week, I think they'll have a better game plan for Cam to utilize his strengths. Still have another week with the offense. The Falcons have had a rough go of it the last couple weeks. They lose to the Bucs 30-17 in a game where they had a chance for a while. Before that, they beat the Jaguars, which was a bye week. And then they lost to the Patriots 25-0 and the Cowboys 45-3. So I'm going to pick the Panthers to win. I'm going to go 28-17. Divisional game, it'll be close. But like I said, I think the Panthers will have a better game plan with Cam. And so I'm going to pick them. That does it for our 10 o'clock window games. Next is the Lions and the Broncos. The Broncos are going to win. The Broncos are probably the better team. They come off of a loss last week to KC, but the Lions won a football game. Let's get excited. The Lions won a football game. Word to Coach Harris, rest in peace. Your team finally won one, man. I just hope, that they don't make a mistake. The Lions, they have Dan Campbell as their coach. And the team is playing hard for him. They haven't given up like most Lions teams do. They're playing hard for him. So I just hope that they don't make a mistake by letting him go because of the success or lack thereof of the team this year. But I don't think they will. They're not going to win this week. I don't think so, at least. But it's a great story, nonetheless, that they won last week. He deserves it. But they're gonna lose 17-30 this week. I think that's a good score. The Bills take on the Bucs. Honestly, if we're going to keep it real, this game probably should have been flexed to the Monday or Sunday night game. The Bills take on the Bucs. Josh Allen and the words are so hard, man. Josh Allen and the Bills lost last week to the Patriots in a snowy rain game that was so hard to watch. The Patriots were playing Madden 20. Mac Jones only had 3 pass attempts. And the Bills don't have a run game, so they lost that game. But I think this week, the Bills, I think they lose again. This is a hard one to pick. But I am going to pick the Bucs to win 35-31. I think it'll be a high-scoring game. But ultimately, I'm just going to pick Brady over Josh Allen at this point. The Giants and the Chargers play. I think the Chargers win 28-23. The Chargers could lay an egg in this game, but the Giants coming all the way from New York to LA, I'm going to pick the Chargers to win this one. They're coming off of a good win last week, and hopefully they can just keep building momentum. The Packers and the Bears play on Sunday Night Football. This is the game I feel like should have been flexed. Justin Fields still is not playing, I believe. No, he is not. And the Packers look like the best team in football. I'm picking the Packers to win 42-10. You know, it is what it is, man. Last game they played, Aaron Rodgers scored a game to ice it, and he said, "I own you," and did the discount double check, which is what I grew up with. So I appreciated seeing the discount double check again. But I'm sure Bears fans will really love the day when he is no longer the quarterback for the Packers. But easy win here, 35-10. The Bears don't really have much without Justin Fields. The Rams and the Cardinals play, and this would have been when you looked out on the schedule in early October, late October, you would have say Rams and Cardinals. That's going to be game of the week. You know, that's going to be a great game. But now, looking at this game, you just kind of feel like the Cardinals should win this one, right? The Rams they had a get-right game, 37-7 against the Jags. But other than that, they hadn't won in 3 or 4 games. Maybe even more than that. So, you know, the Cardinals are hot. They won last week against the Bears. Kyler Murray and Nuke played for the first time in a couple weeks. I think the Cardinals win 34-20. They're the better team at the end of the day. So they're going to win. Right now, I think that if I were to pick right now who my final 4 would be, I would say Cardinals versus Bucks and Patriots versus Chiefs would be my guess. Book those down below. Tell me who you think. Tell me how wrong I am. Tell me that you like cheese on your French fries because it makes you feel like a little kid again. Just talk to me, bro. Just tell me something. In the NBA, I don't think there's really much to talk about. It's NBA regular season. LeBron is back. He had a false positive, I guess. I don't know, bro. The Warriors lost the Warriors won against the Suns. They bounced back, and then they proceeded to lose the next game. Oh, the Pacers have finally said that they are rebuilding. So they're willing to trade Miles Turner, Sabonis, and a lot of their other pieces as well. Karis LeVert is the other guy I was thinking of. They stupidly signed Malcolm Brogdon. And not a knock against Malcolm Brogdon, but it just means that they can't trade him now. He can't be traded until the offseason. And in a move where you're rebuilding, Malcolm Brogdon is a piece that a lot of teams would want. That's unfortunate for the Pacers. If there are Pacer fans out there, I'm sorry. But looking at the standings, the Bucks sit atop the East, 17-8. The Bulls are second. Bucks are third. Heat, Wizards, Cavs, 76ers, and Hawks. On the West, the Warriors are up by half a game on the Suns, 21-4 and 20-4. The Jazz are 3 games behind that at 18-7. Memphis, Clippers, Mavericks, Lakers, and Nuggets finish it off. And that's all that there really is to talk about right now, man. NBA season is kind of dry until after Christmas. Christmas is really like the the start of the NBA season for most people. And I kind of feel that way too, just because the thing that sucks about the NBA and NFL seasons coexisting is that the NBA season starts right when football season starts heating up, right around week 6, week 7, week 8 is when the NBA season starts. And that's, when we know what teams are, and we just kind of wait and see what happens in the NBA. In the NFL. And then there's 82 games, right? So the first 20 games of the season, teams are still just getting their legs under them again. So it just sucks that that's how it is. But that, that's what it is, and that's how it's always going to be. I really think they should reduce the games in the NBA. I think it would just make it a lot better. But who am I? What am I going to do? Absolutely nothing. I think we're just going to do a shorter episode this week. The Cool Grays drop on Saturday, and I might do a couple vlog style videos for that. I didn't win any raffles, which sucks. I want to fight everybody, but at the end of the day, it's kind of expected at the same time. So, I can't be that upset about it. So thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. I want to hit 10 million subscribers in the next 2 years. That's a real goal. Thank you guys, and we'll see you in the next one.